franktalks.com.
Check out the Frank Talks Relationships column currently running in the Suburban Newspaper online magazine. To read more, please visit thesuburban.com.
Remember to sign up for the Coping with Loss newsletter and get weekly supporting messages to help you manage your bereavement, grief, and mourning. You are not alone. Sign up at franktalks.com now.
Need help with love, sex, dating, or relationship issues? Help from Frank Kermit, the best-selling author and Canada's most international relationship coach, is only a click away at franktalks.com.
Dr. Laurie Betito. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Welcome to Passion, a show about love, sex, and relationships. Tonight, our regular monthly feature, we call it Dating Dilemmas. I'm joined by Frank Kermit, who's a dating coach of franktalks.com. He's the best-selling author of numerous books on the subject, and he's the relationship columnist for the online Suburban. In fact, he wrote a column, I believe, is it this week's column?
That's right.
This week's column on work romance. So, hey, why don't we just talk about that tonight? Because there's lots of people meeting their significant others at work.
That's right. Up to 30% of couples do end up meeting at work. At least that's the statistic I heard.
Okay.
People who work together as coworkers, sometimes it's somebody who's in charge of someone else and they make a connection. Sometimes
I have a difficulty with that one. Well, we could talk about that, yeah.
And sometimes it's a matter of it's a client of the business that connects with somebody who's working in the business that has its own
That's true too.
A lot of sticky situations there.
I don't think of that one so often. I mostly think of the stickiest situations being a boss and a and an underling, you know?
Right. And then you have those stories of, the police officer who writes somebody a speeding ticket and then, gets the phone number and they go on a date and they become a couple as well.
Yeah, that's not so much. That's meeting at the workplace rather than
meeting through the workplace.
Meeting through the workplace. Yeah, I guess there would be some professions that are better than others. I could tell you my profession, you never want to date somebody you can't. It's legally and ethically, a psychologist would never,
right,
unless they were completely unethical and they could lose their license for that, would ever date somebody that was a patient, period. So that's a profession that, forget it, you're not going to meet.
Well, you're not supposed to. Not that it never happens, but people are not supposed to.
Oh, no. It's really a big no-no in my profession.
Yeah.
Big no-no. However, you can meet other psychologists, I suppose, at conferences and stuff, know, through the workplace. But the people you interact with at work, I wonder what are some of the professions that are really good for that?
Well, I know that in the sex industry, it's...
Well.
Well, it's not just because they're all into the sex industry. It's because people in the sex industry sometimes struggle to form connections with people who don't work in the sex industry.
That's true.
So it's just easier to date somebody who already knows what it is you do.
I have known, like, male strippers dating female strippers. I've certainly...
well, there's just an understanding.
That.
There's an understanding. I knew some people who worked on the production side of things who ended up dating some of the people who were performing in front of the camera. So it's just because they're already there. They get it. They know what to expect.
They understand it. They don't have the same jealousies because they know of the job that it entails, that it's not right. I've also known people who have... If we're talking about the sex industry, I can't tell you how many of these clients I have had who have fallen in love with their the hooker that they regularly frequent. Their sex provider. It's a nice way of putting it.
Oh, yeah.
with their sex provider and strippers and things like that. But many a times I will look at these guys and say, you know what? Next time, go there and don't bring any money and see what happens, And usually they come back and say, yeah. Like it's a fantasy, right? They're selling a fantasy because they want you to keep coming back. Exactly. That's not what we're talking about. Let's do this generally because, it's still a minority in the sex industry. But have you ever met or married or dated somebody that you worked with, and did it interfere? I want to know those stories where it could get you into some serious trouble. And I know there are some companies that have policies about it. I'm not even sure. Is that even like legal now to stop people from dating within a company? Like, does that stop you from a right to meet somebody? I don't even know.
Whether or not it's legal, there are companies that will be very clear that you are not to involve yourself with the clientele. And a good example of this is, let's say, a dance school. You'll actually see signs.
Really?
Throughout the more professional grade dance schools, you'll see signs on the wall that say that fraternization between clients and dance teachers is strictly forbidden.
Really?
Well, the same thing that we talked about. When you're dancing with somebody, you form a connection with them. Your bodies are becoming very used to one another. So you have to have certain rules that say you can't let this turn into something romantic. You're here for business. You're here to provide a service and not let it go beyond that. I know one individual that I spoke to about this. He said that the company that he works for, because he is dating somebody who's a fellow employee for the same corporation, they have a policy that says that if you're going to get involved with anybody who's also an employee in this corporation, you have to go to the Human Resources Department and literally register the fact
declare it.
Declare it.
Okay.
You have to. So this way, if anything goes south, if anything goes wrong, nobody can make any sort of false accusation. Nobody can,
sexual harassment.
Exactly. Nobody can say, well, this person, came on to me and I totally wasn't wanted. You have to say, well, no, we know that there was a relationship going on there.
Right.
So one of the biggest rules for people who want to date a coworker is that they have to keep a record of what's going on outside of the workplace.
What do you mean? Why would you do that outside of the workplace?
Generally speaking, when coworkers start to date, most of them are smart enough to keep it quiet. They do it in secret. But
sometimes it's pretty obvious. It's not so secretive.
Well, there have been situations where, let's say, the two people who are dating are not seeing each other, communicating throughout the day, but they'll send one of their other coworkers as friends as the go-between in messaging. I remember working for this one company, and we always thought that, well, that guy and that girl, I think they're dating secretly because they're spending so much time together.
Right.
Turns out that they weren't dating, that the girl that was always coming over to talk to him was a go-between for his actual girlfriend who worked in another department. And so because they had believable deniability,
right.
It never...
You know what's interesting? I should have brought it. I totally forgot, but there was a study done that looked at workplace romance and the explicit telling of, like, telling your coworkers, hey, John and I are dating, versus them finding out through gossip and everything else. And they found that the gossip part was not healthy in the workplace. Like, that was, you're much better off letting your coworkers know that this is happening. No? I mean, that's what the study found. I don't know.
My advice is always, when you start dating someone, you keep it secret until you know if you're going to continue this on beyond, let's say, a couple of weeks. You want to go on a date or two, nobody has to know.
The other thing about workplace romance, and I've heard this was a situation that I had a client who had dated somebody at work. They worked pretty closely together, same department. They broke up, and it was ugly. And one broke up with the other. So the one who was broken up with had to witness her flirting with other guys and dating, and it ripped his heart out. Like, he had to literally ask for a transfer somewhere else because he couldn't bear it anymore.
And that's one of the risks.
That's a big risk.
It is a big risk. Look, if you're in a good, solid relationship, there's nothing better. But in order to aim for that good, solid relationship, you are taking a major risk. So if you're not able to handle the risks, or if you're not able to manage the risks, may not be the thing you want to do. You
don't think it's too much to spend every waking moment with the person? You work with them, you get up, you go to work together, you come home, you have lunch with them,
I think that there are couples that actually do make that work. You have couples who have home businesses together. You have the mom and pop stores. These are people who see each other every waking moment.
I think it takes a special couple to be able to do that.
Yes, it does. It takes a special couple. And I wouldn't want to set any rules that stop somebody from attempting to have that.
Right. No, there's no hard and fast rules, but there are conditions for that kind of thing. We are talking dating dilemmas tonight, and the dilemma we're talking about tonight is about dating in the workplace. Are you for, against, neutral? What do you feel? What do you know about this particular topic? You're listening to Passion on CJD 800. Frank Kermit is in studio with me tonight for dating dilemmas. And by the way, any dating questions that you have, Frank posted on Facebook as well. So lots of questions have come in. You can text in questions to us at 514-800. You can feel free to call us as well at 514-790-0800. Here's a good one. I am majorly allergic to cats. Been with my girlfriend for about 3 years, and she knows it. She took a cat in with a litter of kittens for a friend who is traveling for 6 weeks. I told her not to, asked I would not be able to go to her place while they are there. Allergy pills just don't cut it. And at first she said she wouldn't, but in the end she said her friend had no one else. It has been 2 weeks and I've not seen her, and I wonder if I should break up with her. Is that a reason to break up?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Why?
Assuming that they have any sort of, like, they've been together for, 8 months, a couple of years, whatever the case is.
She says 3 years. He said 3 years.
3 years. Okay, they've been together for 3 years. Yeah, you don't put your friends ahead of your partner. He's majorly allergic to cats. Now these cats have gone the run of her home, her apartment, whatever it is. What's going to happen when he re-enters life here in, what is it, 6 weeks, did they say? 6
right,
weeks.
6 weeks, yeah.
No, you don't do that. My guess, she's looking to give him an excuse. She's pushing him away.
That wouldn't be my guess. My guess would be she doesn't know how to say no to her friend. And she doesn't know how to say no. And so she says, okay, fine, I'll do it. And she figures she'll sacrifice the 6 weeks.
But she's not sacrificing the 6 weeks for her. Her boyfriend is majorly allergic.
So why doesn't she go to his house? Why, they live separately. So why doesn't,
this is
in
what
the
I'm
meantime.
saying. There's something more going on there. I don't think she would have done it if everything was great in their relationship. My guess is that maybe she wants to break up with him, but rather than say, look, I don't want to be with you anymore, she's pulling a stunt like this so that way
Really?
he'll get...
I don't assume stunts. I really don't assume people play those kinds of games. That's so funny. Sometimes we come to a situation from such a different perspective,
Absolutely.
you and I.
Because you have your opinion, and I'm right.
You have your... Yeah, right. You better watch it. You better watch if you want to come back here. 514-800 or 514-790-0800. What do you think? I'm actually curious to hear what other people think.
Oh, yeah.
About this one. So, he's majorly allergic to cats. She takes in some cats only for 6 weeks for a friend, and he was wondering if he should break up. So your thoughts, 514-800. Okay, here's another question. What do you guys think of hair removal on the body? And do you think that hair removal on the body makes men less masculine and appear more effeminate to women? For instance, excessive hair on the face, in particular the neck and between the eyebrows also, hair on legs, hair under a man's underarms, and private parts, both for aesthetics and hygienic purposes. Curious to know what you both would think of this practice.
I think that there are some women that are turned on by masculine traits and, a beard and mustache. Yeah, because it's a masculine trait. However, you have to do what you feel comfortable with. And every guy that I know that has at least attempted to shave off certain parts of their body hair, they have found it to be a really pleasant experience.
For them.
Yeah, for themselves. And,
right. You're doing it for you more than anything.
And they make, I've done it, and it was always a positive experience. Positive
well,
reaction.
listen, I think lots of guys now that I know are certainly, at least if they're not getting rid of all the hair, they're trimming their chest hairs and their back hairs and their testicle hairs and between the eyebrows, the unibrow too, right? It's like that's another area. So the whole idea of manscaping is something that is just part of the norm today that we haven't seen that's kind of new, I'd say, in the last 10 years or so.
I think that hair removal unto itself does not make men more effeminate.
No, I don't think so.
But if that exists in addition to a combination of other behaviors, that might be a turnoff for some women. If he's too effeminate, but it's not just the fact that he's shaved off a lot of his body hair, it's usually in conjunction with other behaviors.
Yeah, I guess it would have to. We are talking about different things, really, your questions, but one of the things we're also talking about is workplace romances. So a texter says, I once had a summer fling at work. We kept it a secret, and we had a lot of fun and excitement having to sneak around. I was working full-time at the company, and she was only there for the summer. It was very clear from the outset that this was only for fun. But when she left after the summer, it took me a while to get over it. I guess I was addicted to the rush of sneaking out and not getting caught. Surprisingly, we ended up seeing each other again the next summer. This time it was totally different. She hardly paid any attention to me, and we hardly spoke. I never really found out why.
Well, maybe she got into a new relationship over the course of that year.
Sure, and she said it was a fling, right?
Yeah.
So fling is a fling. So you might have seen it going another way, but maybe she didn't.
Well, it sounds like he got a little bit attached. And when she came back and it was like, look, my guess, she probably had a new significant other, or she just didn't want to lead him on. So she's going to cut all ties.
Maybe that's it. But you see, it can still hurt.
Yeah.
I'll get to some of your other texts, the cat lady issue, and and more of your questions here for Frank on dating dilemmas on Passion at CJD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
On the program, Frank Kermit, dating coach, is in studio, as he has been for many years with us every month. And your questions for Frank, or your questions for both of us, actually, on dating issues, any kind of dating issues that you want to discuss. So the one from Rodney was about his being majorly allergic to cats. His girlfriend of 3 years took in a cat and her litter for 6 weeks, just for 6 weeks. And he wants to know if he should break up with her. And so one texter says, definitely break up with the cat lady. And another one says, the girl is clearly pushing her boyfriend away. So obviously in agreement with Frank on this one. Sometimes I feel like Frank camp or Laurie camp.
I like those particular people.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I love these texters. Thank you for writing in. I appreciate the support.
Okay, Jack says, I fall in and out of love really fast. I get bored really fast. Things always start off hot and great, and I think this is the one, but then I just get bored and break up with them. Will I ever find the girl that doesn't bore me? Sounds like there might be some ADHD going on here.
I think that Jack is confusing lust with love.
That is true.
Okay,
that is true.
Because the whole thing is like,
being
I'm getting
in
bored.
lust. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everything he's talking about is really hot and it's great. And yeah, that's all fun. Okay. But that's not necessarily love.
But I do have to say one thing, because I'm giving a talk tomorrow night on with the Panda Association on ADHD and relationships. And that's one of the factors at the beginning of love. Like, it's all great and everything's great in the beginning, and there's a hyper focus on everything, and then there's nothing, because it's like boredom. You kind of, some people with ADHD, for example, need that excitement of movement. They need something, something more, something different, and so they end up in that kind of situation. So that's just obviously one possibility.
It's definitely a possibility.
These are all hypotheses, guys. Remember, we're not diagnosing anybody here, just hypotheses. On the other side of the news, we'll take more of your questions by text, by phone, however you want to ask them. We are here to answer them on this dating dilemma. So we're talking about workplace romance, but any other questions about love, dating that you have, we'll answer as well. You're listening to Dating Dilemmas here on Passion on CJAD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
How eager I am to talk about relationships, right? With Frank Kermit in studio. 514-790-0800. Or you can text in at 514-800. Jay, is John ready to go on the line? Yeah. All right, let's get John on the line here. Hi, John.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not good. I had a relationship in Ottawa, Amy. 3 years, 2 months I went without, but it didn't work out.
Okay.
I had another relationship, Elena from LaSalle and Group Home. That didn't work out. So I had 2 relationships, you know?
Okay, and your question for Frank would be?
Well, my question for Frank now, I really want a relationship, and where do you go to get a relationship, you know?
Okay, good question. So he's going to answer that. John, thanks so much for your call. Appreciate that. So where does somebody go? Give a couple of tips for people to go and see where they could potentially meet others.
All right, John, so this is for you. I want you...
Yeah?
Yeah.
Go ahead, you're good now.
Okay, so John, this is for you. I want you to figure out a list of all the different things you like to do. Things that you want to experience, places you want to go, hobbies that you would like to get involved in, even if it's not something you've done yet, but if it's something that you want to do in the upcoming little while. Then I want you to go to places where those things occur.
Okay.
And while you're there, immerse yourself in them, and you're going to meet people there who are interested in some of the same things.
And talk to people. Like, I know some people who actually do these things and don't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be you have to start to learn the kind of the rules of friendliness
you
here.
Can't
you know?
be a wallflower. You can't hold back. Look, you have nothing to lose here. You're already alone, and by the sounds of it, you're not happy being alone. If you take a chance and you start to talk to some new people, even if it doesn't work out, you're not any worse off than you are right now.
Right. So you got to risk. It's a question of risking too, right?
And you're definitely going to meet somebody because everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to find that special connection. And just believing that, just reminding yourself that, if you have to, write it on a piece of paper and stick it in your pocket and every now and then pull it out and you're going to read to yourself, everybody wants to be loved.
And I have to tell you another thing is that there's a lid for every pot. I've seen all kinds of pots and I've seen all kinds of lids, and there's a match.
Well, actually, in my philosophy, there's more than just one lid.
Well, there's more than
pot.
just one lid, yes, but just saying, they're, you know.
Somebody out there is going to like you.
That's right.
The numbers are in your favor.
So Texter says, the cat lady issue is a good demonstration that she has no consideration for her friend's needs. Very inconsiderate. I guess for her boyfriend's needs, really.
For her boyfriend's needs.
That's in your camp. Someone else says, Laurie camp, yay. If he can't go 6 weeks without being the center of attention, then he needs to get a grip. See, I'm in agreement with that. Like, she's doing her friend a huge favor. She's stuck, or maybe her friend, like, I'm thinking, maybe her friend is stuck. They've been together for 3 years. I think 6 weeks is not the end of the world.
If the situation were reversed and he was saying, hey, I'm doing something for a friend, you, my dear, can't see me for 6 weeks.
But why can't I see you for 6 weeks? I'll see you outside of the house. I don't have to be there 24/7 with the kittens.
Well, look, if he's allergic and she's got cat hair all over her, is it going to be a pleasant experience for him? Remember, he's majorly allergic here. This isn't just a matter of she's house sitting for someone. If he has an allergy, if it was a peanut allergy, are you gonna?
Is she gonna slather herself in peanuts? No.
But she's his girlfriend. Are they going to be intimate? Are they going to be close? Are they going to hold hands? Are they going to hug? Is he going to get this cat hair?
Yeah, but maybe for those 6 weeks, they can't get that close. Is that such a huge problem? Does it have to be a huge problem? I mean, I think that the girlfriend might have her own dilemma, wanting to do a favor for her friend who's stuck.
If she wanted to help her friend, why couldn't she put the cat and the kittens in a kennel of some kind for 6 weeks?
Maybe her friend couldn't afford it. I don't know. Whatever. There can be a million different reasons. I don't know.
This is what I'm saying. There's something else going on here, okay? There were other options to be considered. She took the option that she knew her boyfriend, he had, I don't remember. Did he ask her? He asked her not to. So she knew that the boyfriend wasn't
Here's something interesting. After years of being, this is a texter, after years of being together, maybe the cat girl assumed her boyfriend understands her love for animals in need. Sounds like he is preventing her from being near animals by using his allergy as an excuse, and is shocked that his controlling isn't working anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if the reason they haven't seen each other is because of his refusal to understand her needs. This guy needs to grow up and realize the world doesn't always revolve around him. I think that's a valid point.
Valid point. I don't think he's being controlling when he's saying, look, I'm allergic to cats. Please don't bring cats into your apartment. We've been together for 3 years. Doesn't the 3 years that we've put in mean anything? I don't think he's
yes,
being controlling.
it means something,
I don't
but
think he's being controlling by simply saying, this is my boundary. I'm allergic to cats. Don't bring cats into your apartment. You're not just somebody who I hang out as a friend. You're my girlfriend. You're potentially my life partner here.
Right. Okay, I can't say you don't make a good argument.
And I'm cute, too. I am very cute.
Yeah, okay, so you have that going for you. Tim asks, how long should you be dating before getting exclusive? That's a good question. Like, at which point do you switch over into, like, I hear the young people today saying, oh, we're just dating. Okay, well, what does that mean? And so how do you make the transition from we're just dating to we're dating exclusively? And I've still heard we're dating exclusively, but it's casual. What the heck does that mean? I'm not getting all of these things.
Okay, on this we agree. When someone says we're dating exclusively, but it's casual, I look at that and I think that's a big red flag. I think that's a waste of time.
That's like a fear of commitment thing to me.
Okay.
No,
we're exclusive, but we're casual. Look, if you're going to be casual, don't be exclusive.
Right. Let me have a chance to go and meet other people who might want to be serious.
Be exclusive with me. How long should you wait? Well, that depends on the individual person. For some people, a certain period of time, a deadline of sorts, is actually a good idea because they may have a history of rushing into things, getting attached too quickly. So by forcing the issue, saying, look, we should be dating casually at least 6 months before we're even talking about exclusivity.
Yeesh.
It gives
that depends at what age you're at and
it also
whatever.
depends on their age.
I don't know. When I was dating, I could never, I know you're against this one, but I could never date more than one person at a time. I would date one person, go on 2-3 dates. If it worked out great, then I would just date that person exclusively. If it didn't, then I would just move on to a new person to date. But I would never be dating more than one person at a time.
But I'm not against that. What you did was smart because you made it a point to say, I need to make a decision soon. And you would give yourself 2 or 3 dates.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with being exclusive for a period of time of 2 or 3 dates where you say, and at the end of the 2 or 3 dates, if it's not working out or if there's nothing there, I'm moving on fast. But that doesn't happen with most people. Most people continue to date because they don't want to be alone or they're still exploring. They're not sure. At this point, you have individuals who aren't leaving high school and going into the workforce anymore. By the time somebody is in their mid-20s, they're still trying to figure out who they are, what they want to do with their life. And that's not even a time that they should be choosing their life partner. They haven't figured themselves out yet.
Yeah, although some can, some people do have life partners that they've been with whatever from a younger age, and that's okay if they're comfortable there, if they feel good there, and this is something that they can see going further. It doesn't happen to most of us, but it does happen. RJ writes, hi, Dr. Laurie, I love you, but got to go with Frank on the cat issue. Partners got to come first. I'm not saying that partners don't come first. I'm just trying to put myself potentially in this person's shoes. I'm just playing devil's advocate, really, to say, is this person, maybe she's just stuck too, and didn't know how to say, I can't take care of this person.
It is possible that the girl in that situation was really trying to do what she thought was best for everybody. I think she was trying to please everybody.
And then save those kittens. Maybe the person said to her, if you don't take care of them, they're going to the SPCA and they're going to get killed. And Like, who knows?
We don't know, but I will point something out here. If she loves animals that much, okay, let's say she has a true affinity for animals, and that's her calling. And her calling is to be a caregiver of animals. That couple should still break up. Because he can't support her lifestyle because she loves animals. He's deathly allergic.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a sign for her that she should be moving on and seeking out her calling. Her animals were more important than her boyfriend. It's that simple.
Yeah. 514-790-0800 or 514-800 to text in if you have thoughts on the cat situation or any other dilemma you want to talk about regarding dating. Tonight's the night. You're listening to Passion on CJD.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Dilemmas tonight on the program, which means we focus on all kinds of stuff that have to do with dating and relationships. And if you've got questions, send them in. One question we've been responding to is a guy who wrote in. He's been with his girlfriend for 3 years. They don't live together. and he's deathly allergic, not deathly, but severely allergic to cats. And she took in her friend's cat with kittens for 6 weeks while the friend went away. And so Frank and I are kind of disagreeing a bit. But anyhow, so here a texter says, it's rare that I agree with Frank, but he's right. After the 6 weeks, everything she owns will be covered in cat hair. That's a good point, right? He asked her not to have the litter there for legitimate reasons. It's his health. She should have wanted his best. Another texter says, maybe the cat guy is looking for an excuse to break up. She's helping a friend. He sounds demanding and controlling. So, I don't know. Another texter says, okay, so 3 years, you would think there would be some give and take. She could have less cats and he see a doctor about his allergies. There's medication for animal allergies too. So, listen.
There's one text in there, the one who says that she doesn't normally agree with me, but this time she does. She pinpointed it exactly. It's not about his preference. It's about his health. It's not a
preference, right.
This is a health issue. It's a boundary.
But the point of the cat hair is a good one.
Yeah.
Because it's not so easy to get rid of cat hair.
No,
the cat's in the air. If you're severely allergic, generally people can't really even walk into a home where there's a cat.
The most expensive air purifiers can't even get rid of all animal leavings.
Yeah.
So
that's, to me, I guess that's the point. The 6 weeks is a possibility. Look, I'm not going to see you for 6 weeks, but it's the cat hair after.
Yeah.
Here's another question. What should you do if a girl who is friends with your friends sees you as a friend and puts you in the friend zone? What should you do to step up your game?
Good question. So let me understand this correctly.
What should you
it's
do
a friend?
if a girl who is friends with your friends, so there's a girl who's friends with your friends, but she only sees you as a friend, as part of the friend circle, and so she puts you in the friend zone?
She needs to see you with other women. She needs to see you with women going out on dates. So maybe at
Why, Frank? Why does that have to do with anything?
Because she then realizes, he's not just a regular guy, a nice guy that I'm not attracted to. When she sees that other women are interested in him, it makes her curious. What's going on with him that all these other girls are interested in him?
What if all these other girls are not interested in him? What if he can't get all these other girls?
All these other girls. If he goes in to the next social circle gathering and he brings a date, that signals that she may have to reconsider whether or not she sees him as just a friend.
Well, what if he just was more... Okay, that's the game part. Okay. That's when he says, okay, step up my game. I get it. That's the game you play. Bring a date,
he could learn to be a bit more charismatic. He could learn to address emotional needs. Here's the problem. And we don't know this for sure. We're going under the assumption that he's...
hypothesizing right now.
Yeah, we're going under the assumption that he's read the situation correctly. If she's already put him in that friend zone category, it means anything he does after that gets filtered through he's just being a nice guy.
Okay.
That's why he has to do something that says, no, when you put me in that friend zone, you were wrong to do so.
Okay.
And if another girl is coming in and is showing an interest in me and becomes my girlfriend, she's more likely to say, wait a minute, did I misjudge this guy?
Okay, but at that point, now he's got a girlfriend. He doesn't need her anymore.
Well, wait a minute. He brings in a girl, but does that automatically mean that they're exclusive? Should they get serious right away?
So then why doesn't he just call upon another friend that she doesn't know and say, you're going to act, and you're going to act like my girlfriend and be my wing person?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
First of all, that's unethical.
Okay.
Because you're asking somebody to lie, and I do not advocate that.
Okay.
And the second reason is...
Okay, don't get mad at me. I just...
No.
I was just like, maybe. I don't know.
Because I deal with clients who pull this sort of stuff
really?
and it backfires.
Okay.
Never lie. Don't do anything unethical. Don't ask a friend to pretend. Here's the second reason, okay? And people are going to tarnish me for this. Women can pick up when there's a girl with a guy and he's trying to make it look like she's into him, but she's really not. I don't know what it is. It's like a magic power.
We're just very smart.
Women can pick up. There's something intuitive about it. When a guy's trying to say, hey, this is the girl that's with me, if she's not really into him, the other girls know. They pick up on it.
So not a good idea to fake it.
No, not a good idea.
Okay, sorry I came up with it. Clearly I'm not a dating coach. You stay in your camp, I'll stay in mine. You do your job, I'll do mine. All right, we got that covered?
We got it covered.
We're good?
Okay.
All
right.
Dating dilemmas tonight on the program. Got a couple more questions for Frank here. And we still have a bit of time, so if you've got questions, you can text them in at 514-800. You're listening to Passion on CJD.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
And Kermit in studio for Dating Dilemmas tonight on the program. A couple of questions for Frank. Anyway, we open up the lines and talk about dating relationships and things like that. So if you've got a question, this is really interesting. My daughter is 23 and living and sleeping with a 43-year-old man. I feel this is so wrong and can't stand to see her anymore. I told her that if she stays with him, she would lose me as her mother. What can I do? That's heavy duty. What can I do to convince her to break up with him and to marry a man her own age? I can answer that one. But anyway, go ahead. No. First, I mean, I would never abandon my kid, no matter what they chose to do.
Abandoning your kid is not going to
persuade It's not going to change. That's right.
It's not going to make your kid walk away from her current relationship.
But I think it's going to do the opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's going to throw her more into it.
We're in agreement.
And there's no way for anybody to convince her to break up. She already knows how you feel about it. You're allowed to say I disapprove. You're allowed to say but it's your life, I'm not happy about it. I have my feelings about it. I have my logic about it.
She has concerns.
She's allowed to have concerns. She's a mom. Okay. So those concerns can be quite valid.
I think that she should just say, look, I have my concerns. These are my concerns, but if you're still going to go ahead with it, then you're going to go ahead. Don't do this. Don't put in this wedge, because if and when grandchildren appear and you want to be involved in those grandchildren's lives and you should be involved in their lives, you may have pushed your daughter away to the point where you don't get to have that.
I mean, you can't, using that, you have to be very careful when you use threats to tell somebody, if you pick him, you lose me. You're willing to put at risk
everything
because your daughter makes a choice. Exactly. It's her. Look, I get it. I get the concern. Certainly there's a concern, but I've also seen, and we've talked about this, we have seen these relationships work as well, even with a 20-year age difference.
Here's my take on this. I think that she's also worried about how it's a reflection on her. And look, you raised your daughter, okay? And hopefully you've raised your daughter to make the best possible decisions for her own life. And if you feel that her being with a much older man is a reflection on you, well, you got to understand that your daughter's an individual, and whatever choices that she's making is a reflection on her, not you.
Not on you, right. And as adults, she's 23, she's an adult. Barely an adult, but an adult nonetheless. So somewhere we have to be able to let them make their own mistakes.
There you go.
As much as we would love to protect them forever and ever and ever, because they are our children forever, it's difficult. But anyhow, that was great. Fun, great answers, great questions tonight. Really
great
fun.
Participation from the audience.
Yeah,
Thank you.
love it. Thanks, Frank. We'll see you again next month, in fact. And thanks to Jay Farrar and Master Control tonight. Coming up next, news, followed by Joey Elias and The Comedy Show. If you need to get in touch with me, passion@cjd.com. If you want to get in touch with Frank, frank@franktalks.com. You can check out his website to see his books and also places where he will be speaking in the comedy.
Listen to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD and CJAD.com.
Stop being single. Remember to sign up for the Stop Being Single newsletter and get weekly tips about how to stop being single and how to start up a love life. Sign up at franktalks.com now.
Need help with love, sex, dating, and relationship issues? Help from Frank Kermit, the best-selling author and Canada's most international relationship coach, is only a click away at franktalks.com. Coaching is available in person, by phone, and by Skype for singles, couples, and alternative lifestyles. franktalks.com.
Remember to sign up for the Coping with Loss newsletter and get weekly supporting messages to help you manage your bereavement, grief, and mourning. You are not alone. Sign up at franktalks.com now.
Frank Talks.